Alright guys, Melissa here. I wanted to upload a video in person. Um, I had a great day today. I just really had an amazing day. I went to church and I'm thinking, last night I was sick. I came down with something. I only got through not even half of the workload I have to do. I'm like, Melissa, your health is first, so go to bed and get some sleep. And that's what I did, and I started feeling better. So I'm like, put God first, put church first, and I'm so glad I did. So, an amazing, amazing church time. And then I had said to some people, can you connect with my son? Can you say hi to my son? Because, he's kind of new around here. So some of the men were like, yeah. And so they're like, hey, we're gonna go over, see him at work and connect with him. I'm like, wonderful. Made me so happy. So, I had another son last night who just kind of scared the crap out of me. He was jumping buildings. This is in another state, some kind of parkour, so he kind of scared me. But anyways, great time at church. And then I had decided to sign up for this group. It's like divorce care. And it's not divorce care per se, but it's women who have been widowed or divorced or whatever, going through stuff. And so I just got back from there, and it's just an amazing support group. So we went around the table, and the leader's like, "Why don't we introduce ourselves?" And I already met some of the women, and you know, they came to me, and so they want to know who you are and why you're there. So I'm like, "Yeah, I am not going to cry." And they're like, "Well, it's okay if you do." And I'm like, "No, I don't like to cry. I'm not going to cry." So I'm like, so basically, and I told my story about how we got over here and my husband just blindsided us and decided to file for divorce, etc., without even really a conversation. So, I'm just going to relax here a little bit. So, as I was telling the story about, our housing crisis in New Hampshire, we weren't going to buy. I said we weren't buying a house with a bunch of mold in it. My husband didn't really want it. He said he was done with it. The time was it February? I'm like, "Do you want me to fight to keep this home?" He's like, "Nope, he can have his money. I am done with this home." So that's what he said. And he went back on his word, just like his Harley. Like, his sons know him well. I said to my sons, "Your dad got a Harley?" And they're like, "I thought Dad didn't like Harley." Another son, "I thought Dad said Harley's overrated." Another son, "I thought he didn't like Harleys." All three of my sons, like, in sync, you know? So he went back on his word. I was telling them. And then I said, I got out here and he just totally blindsided me. We were married 33 years and I've known him since like second grade. So as we were talking, I was talking about this. I said, "I'm okay. I'm okay." And I was really trying not to cry because I don't like to cry. And I said, "Sometimes I'm fine, and sometimes I'm mad at him, and sometimes I don't care." And they're like, "You're going through grief. You're going through grief." So, um, it's just, you know, it was a gift today. And I'm going to have a video up, but in my business channel of the high-end housing that this place was at. And I actually put my card on a bunch of people's mailbox because this is the perfect place for me to find high-end cleaning. So the lady there introduced not just me, but my cleaning business. So some people there are like, "Oh, I think I'm going to call you for cleaning," which I so appreciated. But this was such a blessing to me because, God says he has a heart for the widows. So this is a group, not just for those who have been divorced, but the widows. And I haven't really been around widows because I'm still, midlife, kind of, I feel I'm still kind of like young. So, I've been around older women, like older people all my life, but not like at this level where, um, you hear stories of, my spouse just died. There was a lady in church today, her spouse just died. I think in June, she said. And then these other women saying, I've been a widow since this, or I've been a widow for 5 years, or I've been a widow since this. And to be able to hear other women's stories and how um, divorce affected them. And even though it was hard for me to hear today, and I wanted to cry for some people today, hearing their stories, this is how merciful God is. He has a heart for the widows, and He comforts those who are brokenhearted. So sometimes we think, why does God care about widows, right? He cares very much for widows. And this lady was telling me, one of the ladies today, just a story about how things had happened, and you could clearly see the hand of God with how He took care of her. And I left this group and I was sad, just for everything. But yet on the way home, I felt comforted. And I felt like, God comforts the brokenhearted. And I had put a song on about God, and I'm like, this is why He loves the widows, because His hand can be seen so clearly on how merciful and how gentle and how loving of a God we have when we put ourselves by people who have gone through so much. And so after I shared my story, I just said, God's been very good to me through all of this. I've had a lot of other people, guys, love me to pieces through all this. And I said, God had wanted me to get to know Him more. He's been very good. He's taken care of me and my sons. I said, except for God, I would have been homeless. So God has taken very good care of us when I was blindsided and left with nothing. And, it's hard enough to go through a divorce, but then when you're blindsided with nothing, and your car breaks down, and then your husband's wife had walked out and he needs care, and the needs are great with a divorce. Even trying to work and stay on my feet and having to deal with the divorce, it's huge. It's a huge loss. So I talked about how good God has been to me. So this is, I can talk on here, but when you're looking face to face at other people and they see your pain and they can see right through you, it is very hard to hold it together. So I had one of the ladies give me a hug after, and she's like, can I give you a hug? Because, she can see it on my face. It's all written on my face, how I presented myself and how I talked about, it's very hurtful to me, not that he just hurt me, but that he hurt his sons deeply. And that bothers me more because I see how his sons are hurt, right? So there's a book I'll be sharing. I'm going to look at it before I recommend it, but it's about dealing with grief and losing somebody you love. So whether that's divorce or whether you're widowed and they died, there is a grief share that, kind of goes across the board with grief. And, I was also thankful because, I didn't go through what a lot of these women went through where their spouse just died. And, that's a whole, I think, another area of pain that must be, awful when you're happily married and your spouse dies. So, I'll be sharing, this book and letting you know what I think. But, we had snacks and then we were all going to play a game. And I'm like, I really got to go. I will, come back because I have homework and I have to do that, guys. I have some cleaning to do around here. And then I have homework tonight that I kind of have to finish because people are already calling me to say, hey, can you cover me for teaching on Tuesday? Can you cover me here? And I'm like, let me get my classes done first, okay? So I have like 8 classes to do tonight. If I just go with the quizzes really quick, I probably can get through it. But I have a lot of homework. So I got to be doing that. But each time I tried to do it yesterday, it wasn't happening, and today. So I am so thankful I did not say, oh, I've got homework, so I'm not going to be part of this group. This group, as hard as it was tonight for me to open up, a little bit more about divorce, and how, my husband just abandoned us all after one broken promise after another, how much he loved me. That is difficult. And I was thinking on the way home about the first boyfriend I had who kind of left, and I kind of didn't want him around because I was so upset that, a condom broke and all that stuff. But that was totally different because I was young, I had my family support, I had different things going on. It wasn't so much my decision, but when you've been with someone for so long and they're like, I love you and everything, and I love you more than life, and then they do this, it's really like you feel like, what the heck just happened? So, so divorce is ugly. I talked to somebody else at the bank who said divorce is ugly, Melissa, and he had gone through a divorce, and you see, I'm like, I don't even believe in this stuff, divorce, right? And I'm the one going through it. So, I've had so many good people around me, guys, and I've had so much of the love of Christ, surrounded by me, that I am truly one of the most fortunate women who has gone through divorce. So many people go through so much worse, and their kids are younger and they go through it. And I am glad my kids were older, but still it hurts them too that dad is not in their life. So, yeah, I mean, it's just another way, guys, in the end, the big picture, that you get to know God more. You get to see that He still cares. You're not alone, and He is taking care of you despite what other people do.